think the way that I was working in the first few years definitely wouldn't be sustainable for me in the long term. I did so many late nights and said yes to every single project, and always tried to keep on top of technology and how it's changing. I don't know if you remember Periscope, for example, which was this
Yes.
live video platform. I hated it, but I was like, right, giving that a go too. If everyone is doing that, that's fine.
Yes.
Um, so I'm so happy that my business has matured to a point where I know myself better. I know what I'm good at and what I need to hire out, and I need have in place to keep on top of things. And I'd say that marketing probably is the one thing that was had the biggest impact to become more steady within, right? Like I really focus on my two podcasts and my newsletter, and taking Instagram out of the equation has freed up so much time and energy for me to be consistent in my own way. It's not a weekly podcast, and I'm not the best editor, if I'm totally honest. Yeah, I'm so impressed with how frequent yours is, too, for example. That must be a huge amount of work. But I've
I have
never
help.
stopped.
I have help. It's not all me.
But I've been doing it consistently for over 8 years now with the podcast. So I feel like, you have to find your own way of being consistent, and then it works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting because podcasts and email, like so powerful in terms of that long form educational content and meeting people exactly where they are and actually landing in their inbox where they will actually open your email versus Instagram, which is so short, sharp, short attention spans, doesn't reach your audience anyway these days. So really interesting. I feel like there's a lot of shiny object syndrome when it comes to Instagram, and we just feel like, and a lot of, I think, we feel guilty if we're not on every platform. Sometimes as business owners, it's like, am I doing enough? But I love no, this is what works for me, and this is how I can be consistent because I think that that is the most powerful thing. If your customers or your community learn when to expect you, that's what's valuable, not just that you're, jumping on the latest trend on a reel.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's so good. I love it. I love it. And so in the early days, so you've been doing the podcast for 8 years. So you were an early adopter of podcasting. I've only been podcasting for like a year and a half, 2 years or something. So I'm so impressed that you started so early. Was it the podcast and email that were the way you grew the business, or were there other sort of strategies that you used to get those early clients and start
Mhm.
growing?
I also run a lot of free workshops, and I still do sometimes. That's something I really enjoy because it feels energizing to me. Like, even though I'm a hardcore introvert, I somehow really love teaching online.
Mm.
And I have really practical things to teach. It's quite easy to rally people around. This is how you start a Substack. This is how you start a podcast. Here's how to troubleshoot your WordPress website. They're not kind of concepts that are kind of really abstract and hard to sell to people. And so,
Mm.
um, yeah, I really grew my list a lot. In the first, I would say 5 years through offering free workshops. And that was when I was still on social media. So people kind of came from there into my list and told their friends often. And I just really believe in generosity. I think sometimes we can get a little bit tight when totally understandably, right? Like when we're really needing to make an income and the clients are just not there, it feels
Mm.
hard to then step out and be generous and kind of trust that people are going to pay for some services, even if you offer a lot for free. But I think has really worked for me. And in these workshops, I got to know people. I also got to know their questions and concerns a lot better. So all the courses that I now have really are direct responses to questions that have come up in free workshops that I've been running. So it's
Mm.
such great feedback for me to see, really like how do people go through the process if they want to make their own website, for example, or if they want to start a podcast, where are the little glitches, like where does it snag? And oftentimes also people come to a workshop and they love it, but they just also have a sense they don't want to do it themselves, and they quite gladly would pay someone else to do it. And then I'm happy to do that. So yeah, that feels really good. I still do that. I have a workshop coming up this Sunday on ethical marketing, and I think it's just a great way to get to know people. I think business is so much about relationships, and I think we can kind of rehumanize that a little bit and step away from just thinking about the numbers and the funnel and like how many people can I get to
Yes.
follow me, to like how many people can I be in conversation with. And I guess that depends also so much on your business model. If I had like a I feel very geeky about business models because
Yeah.
I think it's so important for your well-being to choose the right one that really suits you as a person.
Mm.
If, for example, I had a subscription model, which I had a Patreon for many years. I really loved that. And I was, really into attracting large numbers of people, increasing my visibility, and then selling like a small monthly subscription. That's a totally different thing. But I really only need a handful of clients a year who pay my larger web design packages to work with. So the numbers are not that important to me. It's really more about building trust and relationships. And I think having a website made is something very intimate in a way, that can bring up a lot to be seen and think about the visual language that you feel is right for you or what you want to say and where you want to put your headshot. So I just noticed that people need to get to know me quite well before they want to work together, and that's fine. I really get it.